Welcome, 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 everyone, to this conversation with Winnie Woo. And I am so excited to chat with her because she started online in a similar situation, actually, to where I was when I started online. And I'm excited to chat with her because she is a professional who really is juggling it all between a busy clinical practice, two young kids, and then starting her online business. And so I asked her to join me, even though it's almost midnight for her because she's in Australia, to just talk about what it really looks like and how she actually juggles it all, how she does it, and what are the things in her life that have changed because she's been able to now go online. So, welcome, Winnie.
Hello. Hi, Laurie. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yeah. So, why don't we start
Yeah,
off and you can just share a little bit about who you are and what you do?
cool. So I'm Winnie and I'm a physiotherapist. So I am a physical therapist in the States, specialize in women's health physio and also dance physio. I have two clinics before joining Zero to Clients. So actually, no, I've got one clinic but it has like multiple locations and
Yeah.
I've got a team of around like 20 people-ish. And then I've, at the same time as joining Zero to Clients, I went online, wanting to have an online business, but also started another clinic because I wanted to scale what I've got as well.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, so it was all like quite a ride because I feel like I was building like two new businesses at the same time, but one I'm very familiar with and the other one not so much. And I'm learning a lot from
Hmm.
scratch on how to build an online business. And so
Yeah.
that was the reason why I joined in the first place, like large year in March.
Yeah. And
Mm,
let's talk a little bit about the motivation because you had already a successful business. And this is why I really wanted to chat with you because when I went online, I was in a similar situation where I had a nutrition practice. It was going well. I had it in multiple locations. I was making
mm,
money. And I had two babies basically.
yeah.
And it was just like, this isn't it for me. Like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
This life,
Yeah.
this ain't it. So I would love to know from you sort of the truth about what your motivation really was to expand and not just be grateful for what you have and work on what you have and focus on what you have.
Mm. So at that point, I was wanting to go online because I need portability. So I want to be able to travel. I've got the kids, but at the same time, I feel like I was a bit stuck in
Mm.
operations all the time. And even though my clinics are quite self-sufficient, I've got a good team. But there are industry problems that we face all the time, like people leaving, coming, just managing the team, especially when your clinics or your business or outside business are, big enough that you need a leadership team, but not big enough to be managing it all on your own
Mm.
or not big enough to have the
Yeah.
capital to hire. Like that is like the tricky situation. And
Yeah.
so I was in that, and I feel like in order for me to actually move past that and also have some location freedom, I need to change the ways I do things. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I think like online businesses, part of that is also um, there's more scalability in things, and I don't necessarily need a whole big team. And
Right.
that was what really drew me into it, like the
Yes.
different business model that I really want to
Yes.
build. Yeah.
And I
Mm,
remember those first few conversations where you said to me, like, this is what I want to do, but I want to build it in a way where I don't need a big team. Like,
yeah.
you said to me, like, I don't want to manage a big team. I don't want to manage a team because you were
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest, right? That's when you have a clinical practice, and you are, busy, you need to have, the admin person, you need to have
Mm,
all of these other people. Like that's a reality of having a clinic, right? Especially when you are the clinic owner and you are bringing in other people to fulfill hours. Like
mm.
there's a lot of operations and there's a lot of
Full-time job.
admin.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a lot, especially like mentally, when you're dealing with people. So like for me, it's really like I want to do something which I can control myself. And what I put in, I get out. And I feel that way when it comes to online business. Whereas sometimes brick and mortar is not the same, it's not as proportional
Mhm.
when you're growing. And so, yeah, just to have that control back in my life. And
Yeah.
I can choose to pause and I can choose to grow
Yes.
in my own terms. And that's sort of what I wanted.
Yeah. So let's talk
Mm,
about your background in online and your background in tech
mm,
and your background in social media and all of that, because I think that's
yeah.
one of the fears, especially from health professionals. I chat with a lot of PTs, I chat with a lot of massage therapists, naturopathic doctors. A lot of the fear comes from not knowing how to do it and therefore embarrassing themselves online, where they're
Mm,
really concerned about what their colleagues think, what their patients think, all of that, because the online space and the things that we need to be able to run the online business are so new. It's not necessarily working with the clients, it's the rest of it. So
mm.
how did you navigate that?
It's hard. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
It is really hard. It's very uncomfortable to make the first step of, okay, now I need to show online. I need to talk to the camera. I need to film videos, like to do the things that you're not comfortable doing. But at the same time, you see people doing those things and they do get results. So it
Mhm,
is the option of, okay, do you want to get results or not? Like that is the thing, right? And
mhm,
if you have an online business, you have to show online. That's it. Like if I have a brick and mortar, like from before, sometimes I can hide behind my clinic and I can just push everyone out and I can build a brand. But an online business, that is really, building on my personal brand, I need to be the person. So yes, I think is learning and just keep doing it. And like you always talk about imperfect actions. That is, good is good enough. Like that
mhm,
is the key, really. Like good is good enough. Just put something out there and your skills will continue to get better and better as time goes by. And I do think that fear has gone down a lot, but it's still there. I remember like the first video that I ever did to actually push myself out there. I think I did it like over 20 times on my video. Like, yeah,
yeah,
I spent a long time to film that and it still wasn't right to me. But, now looking back at it, it's like I was just a perfectionist speaking and yeah, no
mhm,
one cared as much as I do.
yeah.
So yeah.
You know
Mm,
what's really interesting about that is when you are first starting and you do the video 20 times, in our minds, it has to look perfect, you have to sound perfect, you have to, come across clear and confident and concise. And so we do it 20 times, but then the one take that you do, the one take video
mm,
where you look like a disheveled mess, fumble your words, that gets more traction most
mm,
often than the one where you are like, makeup, coiffed, lighting, the whole nine. And it's because all people want is to be able to connect with you as Winnie, with me as
yeah,
Lori. And I think in the health, when you're in the health industry, the alternative health industry, I think the fancy editing and the fancy lighting, it creates almost a sense of distrust, almost like,
yeah.
I don't know if you agree
True.
with that. Like,
I
this is
think
just
so. I
coming to you as
agree.
we're
I
talking,
agree.
but what are your thoughts on that?
I definitely agree. Like the more staged or the more prepared you look, the less authentic sometimes things are, and or the more scripted. Or sometimes when you script something and then you're super ready to film something, and it just lose that sort of tonation
Yep.
or the variety in your tone, and then it's not as interesting.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I definitely agree. And well, sometimes also the other thing is there are many ways to do something. Like if you don't want to do video, you can do audio
Yeah.
and different ways of doing like there is different ways to push something out there.
Yeah.
So it is about finding what doesn't kill time too much as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, a bit of mass production is
Yeah.
needed when you're starting, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely, and you have to, I think, find the ways that work for you, but not just work for you like audio or video or whatever, but work for you based on the way that you wanna create your business. And I think this idea of there's only one way is really
Mm.
stopping people from getting started. You
Oh,
have
yes.
busy clinics, you have two little children, and you have, a successful online business. How many clients have you put through your online program now? I think you said
So
60?
currently, yeah, 60. And then through that online business, I also have private clients. Like some people that are not suitable for the program, I also take them private. It's not
Mhm.
scalable for sure,
Yeah.
but you also charge at a different rate. So,
Yeah. And
mm,
so let's talk about what that looks like when your plate is already full, because you were like, when you and I would chat, you were super adamant about like, I will not do this. I will do this. This is how much time I have, which was the best thing because I wish everybody was so clear. I wish everyone was like, nope, this is how because it's easier for me, right? It's
mm,
easier for me to give you the strategies when you're super clear on I will do this, I won't do this, I don't have this much time, I have this much time. We just had another client who said to me, she's just closing her clinical practice and moving online full
mm,
time. And she said, I'm going away for 3 weeks. What do? I do not want to do anything other than coach my clients. I said, great, let's map the plan. So, like, the clearer, you were super clear. And that's always so fun for me because then we could just do strategy, which is what we did a
mm.
lot. So walk me through a little bit about what like what does it actually look like for you? Give me like an overview of a week, let's say.
Okay. My week there's a lot of variety in the things that I do. So, I'm still trading. I'm still trading well, 2 days a week-ish. And that is in clinic in person. So that's also my way to connect with my team, which I do
Mhm.
have to connect with my team and be present. And then I think with the clinic project, so the online business, I do that probably 2 days a week-ish,
Mhm.
with 1 day of client calls and coaching calls, like hot seat calls, support, Slack channels, and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, no, Slack channels probably 3 days a week. So my clients get support within 48 hours,
Okay.
and I time it that way so that I'm really clear. These are the days that office is open.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and outside of this, we don't work. Yeah,
Yes.
and having that boundary is really good as well, and that applies to my whole team. Um, yeah, so that, and then I try to have like 1 day where I'm not doing nothing at all, and nothing planned, and block up my whole calendar so that I can get into the zone of either batch creating content, just
Mhm.
sitting in that creativity zone, or have a rest.
Yeah. Oh, wait, rest?
Mm.
Wait, what's that? And I think
And yeah, like, yeah,
yeah.
I
No,
think that's
go ahead.
important. I think that 1 day is really important.
Mhm.
I also have 1 day where I'm actually with my baby, who is not in childcare yet. So that is the day for the rest of this year. I'm still going to have that day with her. Yeah, and then if she does go to daycare next year for that day, then that day will also be my creativity day. Like I need those creativity times though, where I'm
Yes.
just doing nothing.
Yes, and I think so she's in daycare the rest of the days, but, like, one day of the week, she's not in daycare, is that what you're
Mm,
saying? Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I think that's really important. We moved to a 4-day work week also, like, almost I would say, yeah, 2020 so, like, it's been almost 2 years since we've moved
Mm,
to a 4-day work week where the coaching team and, the leaders, like, everybody, has I call it Freedom Friday, where
yeah.
if they have work to catch up on, that's fine, but it's a 32-hour work week. It's not a 40-hour work week slammed into 4 days. It's 32 hours because, the freedom of having an online business doesn't just extend to me, it extends to everyone. And I think, the more of us that talk about how we do it and the more of us that share sort of what it actually looks like, the easier it is to conceptualize. And so I love that you were saying that, you have 60 clients and you work on this 2 days a week. Slack 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And I think and what do you charge for your program? Just to give everybody an idea.
So my program last year, I started off the beta price was 299. Actually, no, 2500.
Okay.
Now it's 6997.
Okay.
I'm
So,
continue to raise it, I think.
yeah, absolutely
But it's, yeah.
100%.
Mm,
And so, I think the key thing to get across here is when you have an online business, it's very different from the clinic in the sense that almost all of the systems and the processes are automated, right? It's
Yeah.
very different from the clinic in that sense where, like, when you get prospects coming in, the automation takes over. When you get new clients, the automation takes over, right? And so this is how Winnie is able to work in her online business with 60 clients at a time. I'll allow all of you to do the math. And she's able to do that 2 days a week. So do
Mm,
you wanna talk about how you have set it up that way? Because again, going back to,
yeah.
like, you were super adamant that this is not gonna take over your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have one VA that helps me
Yep.
in order to do some of the sort of client concierge things.
Mhm.
But I have recently set up a chatbot as well to do that. That is
Nice.
another thing. But yes, automations, that's huge. So I think everything from lead gen to that conversion sales process
Mhm.
to onboarding and making sure that onboarding to delivery to offboarding
Yes.
is as automated as possible.
Yes.
So, for example, the delivery emails are sent the way that I've designed them to be sent. Extension options, when are you going to talk about
Mhm.
extension? If you're going to go into the membership or anything later, those are sent at certain date of
Yeah.
the membership as well. Like all of these are very well designed. In terms of lead gen, we do Facebook ads and Facebook groups. So exactly like what you recommend. So I still do those things for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and with Facebook ads, I actually still have the same ad from last year.
Yeah.
I
Because
still use
that's
the same
what's
ad. I didn't
supposed to
change
happen.
it.
Yes.
I know I didn't change it. I just keep looking at the stats to make sure that it's not
Yes.
getting fatigued and
Mhm.
high frequency, but I'm still using that ad. And I think I have the skill set to then change something from that ad if I need to create
Mhm.
more versions of it. But that ad is working really well. And so that's bringing leads constantly into my pipeline. And as
Mhm.
long as my emails and everything is converting, then I will have calls booked and I will be able to go into those calls and close the calls. I
Yep.
have a pretty high close rate in those calls, and I think that is also one of the key things
Yeah.
that drive people into the program as well.
Yeah. And let's talk about, so when you came into zero to clients, did you have any of that set up? Like the online
No,
automations,
no,
any of it?
no, I didn't even know what kind of business I wanted to go to.
Mm.
I think we had this conversation like whether I go into health professional or business coaching. And you guys helped me decide on what I wanted to do
Yeah.
and validated that idea. And I didn't have anything built out. I didn't have the program built out when I launched as well. So that is
I remember
again a
that.
different
I remember you
way.
doing the webinar and you're like,
Yeah,
people bought it and it's not ready."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I put those elements back in after my first round with
Mhm.
the webinar and all of those things, and then I optimize it. I continue to optimize it.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking at all the data and refining that like a year after.
And that's again, for people who have been in clinic, or maybe you have, a job outside of the alternative health and coaching world that you want to minimize or leave. I know that it's hard to conceptualize how an online business
Mm,
works because so much of it no one can see. Right? You can't
mm,
see how you can't see success based on somebody's social media following. You can't see success,
mm,
right, based on somebody's, reel being viral or not. And so I think the important thing is when you're considering moving online and you're considering whether you come to work with us in zero to clients or not, really working with a person in a program who builds you the tangible assets and the skills
mm,
and the processes that you can't see, right? You can't see
mm,
from somebody's Instagram following if they're building their email list, if they're running a webinar,
mm.
if they're booking enrollment calls. You can't see that,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's so many different elements in there. And the thing is, like I feel like we need to learn the foundations and we need to learn the things that has to happen. Um, like the lead magnet, the funnel, those things have to happen, right? And then afterwards, it is about learning the skill set. And I think what Zero to Clients is really good is that you guys teach me the skills of what to look at, like what are the metrics to actually look at to continue to build this outside of
Mhm.
Zero to Clients when I graduate as well. And that is very, very important because you guys have the one way to do it to start with, but then there's a variety of different elements that you can put in and
Yes.
you're all open to it. And when I need the support to talk about those different elements, I have the support, which is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Because there is, the way that we work inside of ZTC is like, you can do whatever you want. It's your business.
mm,
It's your business. And you can do whatever you want. And sometimes moving in a direction too quickly is not ideal. Or sometimes, adding in something when you're just starting is not ideal. And I think that's the benefit of mentorship for everyone. It's like you don't know what you don't know, and but what you do know is how you want to live your life. That's what you know,
mm,
right? You know that
mm,
you only want to work 2 days a week in your business. Great. That's all I need. Like just tell me that and we'll rock and roll. So I think that's a really good way to discern how to make this decision. It's like you don't need to know how your business is going to be built. You don't need to know
mm,
anything about that. What you need to know is the end result of how you want to live your life and the amount of time and energy and effort you want to put into it. Right. Because I think there was even a point where
mm,
you weren't doing enrollment calls, where you said to me, like, I don't want to do, were you always doing enrollment calls?
yeah. No, I tried application funnels. I
Yeah.
try and just go through application and everything automated. And I did some of those, but the clients were not as good as when I was doing
Right.
enrollment calls. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you saying to me, "I don't wanna do enrollment calls." I'm like, "Okay, so cool." Right? And then,
Yeah.
like, I was like, "Okay, this is what's gonna happen." Um, but
Yeah.
again, like, that's not that we can only give recommendations, and so I think it's really important when you are a professional and when you wanna work with clients in a professional way, it's you can't really wing it. You just can't.
Mm,
You can't wing it. You can't duct tape it together because again, there's so much that behind the scenes that goes into setting up a business in a way that really does allow you to have that freedom and that flexibility.
mm.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think also you can have quick wins easily, but to then make sure that it's sustainable and that you will continue to grow and it's
Mhm.
not just a one-off success, you
Mhm.
do have to build all those elements as well. And
Yeah.
again, yeah, I really agree. Like you don't need to know how to build those things when you start. It's you just have to have the right people to guide you through,
Yeah.
and trust the right people to be able to sort of, yeah, like hold you through that process to start with,
Mhm.
definitely,
Yeah.
until you get to one point, and then continue to hold you through, like if you need it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
mentorship is super, super important. Like mentorship and coaching is very important to any business, I think.
Yeah, to any business
Uh,
because
any.
like, even with us, like, I jumped on a call with our mentor last week because I was just like, I I just need to talk this out. Like, I think I know the
Mm,
answer, but I'm not certain, and even in that conversation, I got so much clarity in just talking it out that I was able to then make decisions. So, mentorship and coaching from people who are ahead of you,
yes.
who have the business, who have the lifestyle, it's so important. Thank you for this convo. Where can people
Mm.
go to learn more about you, your program, what you do for physical therapists?
So my business is called The Clinic Project. And so theclinicproject.com is the website. And you can also find me theclinicproject.winnie on Instagram as well. Yeah. And I
Amazing.
do help allied health professionals to sort of grow their brick and mortar business.
Yes,
Yeah.
amazing. Well,
Cool.
thank you everybody for watching, and thank you so much, and I hope you have
Thank
a good
you.
night's sleep, Winnie, and we will chat soon. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody. Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. See you.
Bye.